What is the world made of? The ancient Greeks, like Democritus, imagined tiny, uncuttable particles they called atomos. But for 2,000 years, this was just an idea. Then, in 1803, John Dalton made it science. He pictured atoms as solid, indivisible billiard balls. This model was simple, but it was revolutionary because it was based on measurement, turning philosophy into chemistry. But Dalton's perfect sphere didn't last. In 1897, J.J. Thomson, using a cathode ray tube, discovered a much smaller, negatively charged particle, the electron. Suddenly, the atom wasn't indivisible. Thomson imagined a plum pudding model, a sphere of positive charge with these negative electrons dotted throughout, like plums in a pudding. Then came Ernest Rutherford's bombshell. He fired tiny alpha particles at a sheet of gold foil, expecting them all to pass straight through Thomson's pudding. Instead, while most did, a few bounced straight back. His conclusion was stunning. The atom must be mostly empty space, with all its positive charge and mass packed into a tiny, dense nucleus at the center. But this new planetary model had a critical flaw. Classical physics said the orbiting electrons should lose energy and spiral into the nucleus, destroying the atom. Niels Bohr proposed a fix. He suggested electrons exist only in specific quantized energy levels, or shells. They could jump between these levels, but they could never fall into the center. This explained why atoms were stable. Today, we know even Bohr's neat orbits aren't quite right. The modern quantum model, shaped by scientists like Schrödinger, describes electrons not as points, but as waves of probability. They exist in three-dimensional orbitals, fuzzy clouds, where they are most likely to be found. From a solid ball to a cloud of chance, the story of the atom isn't about getting it right the first time. It's a powerful reminder of how science works, building on what came before, and always being ready for a new discovery to change everything.